Fincher in his office, and I was scheduled for 45 minutes, prepped for 24 hours. His first 2 answers took 15 minutes, and I literally stopped the interview and said, David, I really need you to go faster. This is not working for me.
This isn't working. I have written questions. I have a job too.
I have sections. We are not getting through this. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about Fincher for a second? Because Seven was pretty formative for me.
I think David Fincher movies, when they get released, they should be national holidays.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a treasure, and is he American or British? I don't know. I've never met him.
Oh, he's American.
He seems like he's got like a British like integrity about him. I remember when he did Alien 3, and I was just such a dark film, such a great third film of a franchise, I thought. So I'm obsessed. Anyway.
We could talk, listen, I have a lot of questions for you, but
okay.
we could talk Fincher. Did you watch Mindhunter?
Yes.
Okay, so Mindhunter to me is the best thing Netflix has ever done by a mile. I think Mindhunter is genius. I don't know if you enjoyed it or...
I cannot think of a better thing on Netflix than Mindhunter. And I watched the first season, and I thought it was incredible. And it made me like, at some point, I'm gonna have to take on, the psycho killer subgenre as some of my great influences have.
Well, first of all, it's ripe for. There's a million stories out there. The last time I spoke to Fincher, which was for Love, Death, and Robots, I said to him,
cool.
Absolutely. I said, what do I need to do to start a GoFundMe for Mindhunter season 3? Because I will do it. And I will give you $20 if you want to make it.
Well, I will forge ahead, and I got to watch the next season, obviously.
100%. It really is. I think it's phenomenal.
I can tell we have the same taste.
Yeah. It's called quality entertainment. Right. So listen, I could talk about Fincher with you the whole time and other directors and everything, but I really want to thank you for what you do and for making movies, because you have made 3 great films that I really recommend to everybody. I have a million things to ask you about, but I like throwing a curveball at the beginning. And I know a lot of people want to be in business with you, so it might not be tough, but if you could get the financing to make anything you want, what would you make and why?
Wow. It's a great question.
No budget. Whatever you want, and it could be even any IP. What's like the dream?
Well, see, if I told you, that would be giving you the scoop of the century, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
What if I get to make this movie someday?
Right.
Will I have wanted to announce it, and when it was just the glimmer of a thought?
How about this? I won't put you on the spot, but is there something like a genre or an IP, like something that maybe people don't associate with you that you're thinking about?
You know what? I think the thing about it is, no matter how many IPs I think of, I think about taking on, I feel like I have this responsibility to myself and to people to tell my own stories. And so I don't know if there is going to be an IP that will do it. There was Akira is one of my favorite films and informative. And there was a world where I thought maybe I should take that on or something like that on. And I think in my conclusion was that, I've got my own work to put forward, and Akira is perfect. It's perfect. So, that's kind of where I am.
Sure. I love that you shot this in IMAX and you worked with Hoyt and you used IMAX cameras. When did you realize you wanted to play in the IMAX arena? It
came with the very sort of foundation of the film, although I might not have known to say it when I first sort of uttered this thought of making a totally immersive UFO film. So I talked to Hoyt, and obviously scope was a big thing, and I wanted to push myself. And I asked him, how would you capture actual UFO if you had one chance? What camera would you use? And that's what we should use in the movie, both in the movie and in the meta way. And he said the IMAX cameras. And I don't know if he just really wanted to make an IMAX movie, but no, obviously that he has so much experience in that realm, and as what he told me is true. There's a different kind of immersion that happens with IMAX, and there's a different kind of resolution. So for posterity alone, they send these cameras up to space, and so yeah.
Do you see yourself using IMAX cameras in your future movies the way that Nolan does?
Yes, yeah. Look, every story, it needs to be told its own individual way. So I won't be like an absolutist about how to shoot something or what to shoot something on, but once you direct an IMAX, there's a real intoxication that happens, and it's hard. The possibilities open up so much when you see that format and you feel like, oh, wait a second, I can be somewhere in a more real sense. It's pretty addictive.
I love talking about the editing process because that's ultimately where this whole thing comes together.
Yeah.
And I love learning about like first cuts versus finished films. So did you have a much longer cut of this?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. My editor is Nick Monsour. He's a guy I worked with in Us, and he's just a brilliant guy and a brilliant collaborator. The first cut, I don't remember. I feel like it was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
For people when they hear that, that's like an assembly cut though. That's like literally everything.
Yes, which is fairly typical. It may have been more. It felt like a whole lot of movie, and it was, and it is a whole lot of movie, and yeah, and so part of my journey, sort of crafting a film, is finding the real essentials of a story, both from a plot standpoint, but also from the feeling and mood of it, and so he did a fantastic job.
What was the last thing you cut? The last scene you cut before you picture locked, and why?
Let me see. Let me figure out a creative way to answer this. Okay, let's just say this. Okay, Kiki Palmer. I'd never really worked with her in a real sense. I worked with her briefly on Key and Peele, but she's a brilliant improviser, it turns out, as well as a brilliant actor and great at memorization. And so let's say, that first speech where she comes out and she, actor, singer, dancer, and she's giving the safety speech. I mean, she gave me about 20 different reads and takes and options, and it was just one of those moments where you see somebody showcasing all the talents that they've learned to take the written word, but also kind of go off and make it their own. And so, that's why I'll say it was one of the hardest things to choose.
Completely. I've heard that also I've heard this from other filmmakers, like which take do you actually go with when 10 of them are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And her dancing, it's like you could just left the camera on and she's just cracking me up with her dancing. So it's very interesting. Comedy ends up being one of the more difficult things to edit, if not the most difficult, because every frame can cascade the whole dynamic into a different direction.
Well, the other problem is, and a lot of directors have told me that they'll find a sequence they love, they have it there, then they're watching it after 2 months, they're like, well, this isn't funny, and then they take it out, and only a test screening that reminds them, oh, that's still funny.
Yes, there's so with comedy, there's so much investment in trying to figure out what an audience will like, and often I feel like if you're having fun, then the audience can feel it. And if you're not having fun, the audience can feel that. And that's kind of in live, when you're in front of a live audience, that tends to be the truth. When you edit it, it's not always true like that. When you edit it, sometimes the most boring thing to shoot ends up being brilliant. For whatever reason, it all comes together, and vice versa. Something that was absolutely a blast on the day, and everyone had the whole crew cracking up, can fall flat. And that's why every kind of piece needs to be calibrated.